In this video, we'll be talking about rotation. Rotation 1, or base rotation. In rotation 1, the outside hitter will be serving first and therefore will be in the 1 position. The setter will be in the 2 position, middle blocker in the 3 position, outside hitter in the 4 position, opposite in the 5 position, and the middle blocker or libero in the 6th position. Rotation 2. In rotation 2, the setter will be in the 1 position as the setter will be serving first. The middle blocker in the 2 position, outside hitter in the 3 position, opposite in the 4 position, libero in the back in the 5 position, outside hitter in the 6th position. As you can see with this transition, we see that the setter moves up behind the middle blocker. This only occurs when we are in the serve-receive formation. When the setter goes behind the middle blocker, everyone shifts over. Outside hitter goes to the left, the opposite moves a little bit back, but always in front of the setter to not violate any volleyball rules. The libero and outside hitter will stay in the back row to cover the deep ball served to the other side. Rotation 3. In rotation 3, we see that the libero is now in the 1 position. The libero will be in the 1 position because the middle blocker has just been substituted out of the game. The outside hitter will be, however, in the 2 position, the opposite in the 3 position, middle blocker in the 4 position, outside hitter in the 5 position, and the setter will be in the 6th position. In this transition, we see that the setter goes behind the opposite. This is another case of the serve-receive formation. We see that the outside hitter goes to the right, but will always be in front of the setter. The libero will still be in the back, and also with the outside hitter, they will always be in the back. The middle blocker will stay in the front row. Rotation 4. In rotation 4, we see that the outside hitter is in the 1 position, the opposite in the 2 position, the middle blocker in the 3 position, the other outside hitter in the 4 position, the setter in the 5 position, and the libero in the 6th position. The outside hitter will be the server for this rotation. As you can see with this transition, we see another serve-receive rotation. We see that the setter goes behind the outside hitter, and everyone else shifts to the right this way. The middle blocker will always be in the front row in this rotation. The opposite will be shifting backwards, but always be in front of the setter to avoid volleyball violations. The libero and outside hitter, as I said before, will still be in the back. Rotation 5. In rotation 5, we see that the opposite is now in the 1 position and will be serving in the game. The middle blocker in the 2 position, outside hitter in the 3 position. The setter has now come up to the front row and be in the 4 position. The libero is still in the back in the 5 position, and the outside hitter in the 6th position. As we see in this transition, the setter is now in the 2 position in the ideal spot. The middle blocker will be staying in the middle, and the outside hitter will also be in its ideal spot. Rotation 6. In rotation 6, we again see that the libero is now in the 1 position. This is because middle blocker has just been substituted out of the game. The outside hitter will now be in the 2 position, the setter will now be in the 3 position in the middle blocker in the 4 position, the outside hitter in the 5 position, and the opposite in the 6th position. Always remember that the setter will always be across or diagonal from the opposite. Both outside hitters will be across and diagonal from each other, and the libero and middle blocker will also be the same. With this transition, we see that the outside hitter has come all the way to the 4 position. The setter has gone back to the 2 position, and the middle blocker has gone back in the middle in the 3 position. Rotation 7. Rotation 7 is just like rotation 1. The outside hitter will be in the 1 position, the setter will be in the 2 position, middle blocker 3 position, the outside hitter in the 4 position, opposite in the 5 position, and the libero in the 6 position. We can see here that the libero is always going to be in the back row and will never be in the front row. When the time comes that the libero will go up, the middle blocker will substitute for them.